That's it.
If the exchange rate improves, if the cedi becomes stronger, it simply means that when you export your cocoa and you get paid on the international market, the equivalent in cedis is also reduced.
True.
As a result of improvement in the cedi rate.
Absolutely.
We need to factor that in.
Yeah.
You understand? And then this discussion would ultimately end up in the purchasing power to the farmer, the purchasing power of what is sold, what the farmer sells, and so on. But that's one point.
The economists call it the real income.
Thank you,
yes,
my
the
brother.
Real
thank
income.
you, Master. In addition to this, and I'm listening to the farmers, and of course the farmers are divided. It does appear that there are some farmers who strongly support the NPP position, and there are some farmers who say that they understand the situation and so on. Why? You know the crisis of fertilizer for cocoa farmers. You know that,
right,
Master? The crisis of fertilizer for cocoa farmers.
Yes.
Should I repeat it?
No, you don't have to. I think it's public knowledge.
At a certain point, we knew that the farmers were not getting fertilizers, they were not getting the inputs and so on. And they made so much noise. Now, not me. I don't know the industry. I haven't visited a cocoa farm in the last 10 years. I don't know. But I'm listening to cocoa farmers and they say that now the inputs are coming.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard them, you've seen the tapes and so on. So it means that there is some improvement.
Yama afifo akwaba na yemfombra yem platform we eso. Kwesi Pratt Jr. A veteran journalist. Na owura we, in fact, ban Ghana yem politics na adwuma bobe papa ba. Oni nkonomanom ena omo sha asese omo ye politics what ya say Kwesi Pratt Jr. adwuma bobe papa wadi Ghana politics chiache nti okasa onim de oka. Na do you know why? Only NPP Titus Glover, I think the former Greater Accra minister, right? Brana NPP ewa baimu. Now Marco clash on the cocoa sector crisis. Cocoa sector crisis, especially the reduction of cocoa farmers or musika. Now when Kwesi Pratt atono bo ase chechem say there be o MPP for ase mama dina aluku asif say Ghana kuafo say ndisi aban esisi omo there be anya sa na Ghana kuafo ka ebinom ka say ampa omo ani nyanji se koko bo no swate and neither omo nso ebeblemi aban no adentia because omo ati nima bi ase omo nim se anye koko akatu anko ana mo de afu no na mom incentives a omo nya ka ho enema bi a omo nya ka ho bi ti se fertilizers omo kan say koko aduro ni sa ne manema no aban no edi momo and afi so kra no uko amanoni world market price na swati ntia dentia MPP for mo na luku asif say NDC aban na deliberately wa sheda opesa oyeden oti koko akuafo sika so na mukura mo wosfo no mukoduru $12,000 ana the 12,000 Ghana cedis equivalent to Ghana cedis ana amanoni was nka mo koko akuafo be 6,000 per bag no mamfa mo nti aden na mo enemu pese mo twist the whole issue mani look as if say NDC aban na omo yesa ensem de Kwesi Pratt kan bi na wama Titus Glover ni guase because na onim se otwa jandam na Titus Glover ni se wo kasa keke wo mbra Kwesi Pratt Jr. emfa analogy bi ento ho anase onye analysis bi na o expose no but this time around Titus Glover enya ni way yenti ekomodidi ni bi ewo Good Morning Ghana boro ni show ni so yekoba ebeto aso.
That's an important recognition. It is also a fact that right now, as we speak, there is unanimous approval of President John Dramani Mahama as the next AU chairperson. That's for 2027.
Right.
And then it is also a fact that the AU is considering, I think it's almost considered, that instead of a year of preparations, the AU should spend 10 years focusing on reparations. Now, there are important questions here. If President John Dramani Mahama should become, and I think he's going to become, the chairperson of the AU, will he still carry the mandate on reparations? That's an important question. So it may be that as chairperson of the AU, he may not carry the mandate of reparations, and that the AU may appoint a new chairperson or a new, focused person on reparations.
Right.
It may also well be that the AU may change, the way it works, and make President Mahama as chairperson of the AU for 2027 still the champion on reparations. These are open to speculation, but that's the situation.
Right.
Now, what we are discussing is a report that President Mahama presented to the last session of the AU on reparations. For me, one of the most striking things in the report is that the report refers to payment of reparations. And I think that's missing the point completely. Because reparations is not about the payment of money. You understand? Because to start with, no amount of money can pay for the crimes which have been committed against the African people, whether they are in the continent or on the diaspora. So the emphasis needs not be on money. I think what the emphasis need be on is resetting the world in order to give Africans a voice, in order for Africans to develop the necessary institutions and mechanisms for resolving the concrete problems which face them in the area of the economy, cultural emancipation, maintaining political sovereignty, and so on. That ought to be the focus.
Right.
You see, Africa is a continent of 1.4 billion people.
Right.
And there's no meaningful voice in the United Nations. Indeed, binding decisions are virtually taken in the Security Council where Africa has no voice. And I think it's important for us to ask why that is so. Now, that is so because in 1945, when these arrangements were being made, many of the African countries were colonized.
Right.
So they did not have a voice. They were not at the table. Okay. So the UN was created. 1.4 billion people have been denied a voice. The UN has created institutions like the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Trade Organization, the WTO, where Africa's interest is missing, you understand? So it is this resetting that reparations should be about, the resetting agenda, resetting of the world and its institutions, that reparations should be about. Then there is the question of values and so on. I mean, the values, the international values, which find expression in international law and so on, have been impositions from the colonial regimes, you understand? To the extent that even in Africa, some of our leaders have bought these standards, these false standards. So, for example, in Ghana, depending on who is president, sometimes even traditional rights are frowned upon. So at state functions, European rights are what are performed because we think that traditional rights are inferior. This needs a reset, This needs a reset. There is the issue of artifacts, African valuable spiritual artifacts and so on, which have been stolen and are on exhibition in museums around the West. There's a certain clamor to bring back these artifacts, Then, even history itself is told in such a way as it denigrates the African and his values and so on. So there's a need to rewrite history. There's a need to establish mechanisms, for edifying the African standards and so on. So broadly speaking, this is what reparations is about. But President Mahama makes very interesting recommendations. And the first recommendation is that the AU itself should establish a dedicated reparations division.
Yeah.
So he says that within the AU, there has to be some arrangement which focuses entirely on reparations and so on. I think that's a very sensible recommendation, because we cannot be pursuing reparations under the auspices of the AU if the AU does not have a division which is focused on reparations. So that's a very sensible, recommendation from President John Dramani Mahama. The second thing that he advocates for is the building of a fund for reparations, because really, struggling for reparations would involve some significant expenditure. There's the legal and historical research which has to be done. There is the mass mobilization across the continent and in the CARICOM states and so on. And all of this will require some funding. So the AU, it's important that the AU sets up some funds for that exercise. I've been at 2 AU heads of state sessions. I was at the one in Malabo, and I was at the recent one, which has not concluded yet, in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And to my shock and total disbelief, the AU is virtually controlled by Western NGOs. It's shocking.
Interesting.
You would find that in the various secretariats, many of the workers are described as volunteers. Where do they come from? They come from Western NGOs. They are paid by the Western NGOs. So their first loyalty is not to Africa, it's to Western NGOs. And that's a huge problem.
Right.
A lot of the funds of the AU are provided by Western NGOs and so on. I think we need to change that if we are to assert African independence and to pursue African causes. The AU must begin to think about how to make resources available for its own work and so on. So that, I think, is a very important, suggestion made by President John Dramani Mahama. The next one is that African countries, the 55 African countries, should establish national reparations commissions. And I think that's also important. We cannot be working at the continental level, where at the national level, there are no institutions dedicated to the pursuit, of the objectives of reparations and so on. So that is important. Then he talks about a continental legal framework for the struggle for reparations. And I think that's also excellent. I do know that the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg in South Africa, the legal department, has begun work with the African Lawyers Association in trying to develop the legal framework for reparations. Indeed, I was at their last meeting in Johannesburg last year, trying to establish the legal basis for this struggle, and actually preparing the grounds for seeking an advisory opinion, from international courts and so on. But I think that the EU needs to adopt that work as its own, because this is also about legality and so on. So it's important. And then he talks about global alliances. Of course, reparations doesn't just affect the African people. It affects the African diaspora. In fact, even in some ways more. In some particular ways more than it affects us on the continent. And therefore, it's important to build all of these global alliances. And I'm happy that the AU is in constant touch with the CARICOM states on this question of reparations, And then he talks about engagement with perpetrators. Yes, of course. We cannot reset the world without global engagement, especially with the perpetrators of slavery, colonialism, and today's neo-colonialism. Now, for me, one of the most important developments so far is the fact that Ghana actually intends to placed a resolution before the United Nations General Assembly seeking for the declaration of slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, as the worst crime against humanity. And this was an initiative of President Mahama and Ghana. Now, interestingly, at the last session of the AU in Addis Ababa, the AU has adopted that as its own effort. So all the 55 nations in Africa will be supporting President Mahama when he tables that resolution before the UN. I think it's a bold, good step. I also do know that there are efforts to rope in the CARICOM states. So in the UN, I'm quite sure that this resolution will pass at the General Assembly, where nobody can veto a resolution. So I expect that this will be passed, and this will give a new momentum to the struggle for reparations. And then, Moro, as a result of all the work that is being done by many people and so on, 4 universities in Africa, I think in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Somalia, and one more country, have actually established faculties for the study of reparations. And that's huge. For example, in some of the universities, I do know as a fact that my book on reparations has been accepted as a compulsory reading material. And that is after Amazon actually decided or conferred a 5-star status on the book.
Wow.
So some progress is being made, and I'm happy to be part of this effort. It's very tiring. It means that we are constantly traveling, we are constantly giving lectures. At my age, it's not a very comfortable position to be in.
Yeah.
But to the extent that it contributes to righting a historical injustice, I'm willing to give it my all, you understand? And I'm very, very happy so far at the performance of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. He appears to be leading this charge and leading it very, very well. And I think that his peers in the AU summit actually acknowledged that and heaped a lot of praises on him. I heard former President Obasanjo speak about President Mahama and the role he's playing in Africa in very, very high terms and so on. I heard Salif Johnson also do the same and so on. And the current chair of the AU was full of commendation. This is a fight we must not lose. And I'm confident that we would win this fight, even though it's going to take a bit of struggle.
Right.
We shall definitely win this fight for reparations.
Yeah. All right. Kwesi, thank you very much. Let me also say that our other guest is also joined us, representing the New Patriotic Party, is a man who is a former Greater Accra Regional Minister. He's also a former MP for Tema East, and also a former he's a former Deputy Minister for Transport as well. I'm talking about the man Daniel NPP Titus Glover. He's joined us this morning. But remember that he's also aspiring to become the next national organizer of the New Patriotic Party. I hope you're doing very well.
So long as we're alive, we give God the glory. We give God the glory for giving us the opportunity again to breathe. Good morning to your viewers. My big brother Kwesi, yourself and the team here in Metro TV.
Right.
So I'm fine. Now that the dates, the timetable is out there, all is set for my campaign to become the national organizer of my party.
That started.
Yeah, so very soon we'll be hitting the road. toured the whole country, the 276 constituencies, from the south to the north, to the east, to the west. So very soon they will be seeing me. It's about how to energize the base of our party, how to touch the hearts and minds of our people. Those who have been beat down, we need to bring them up and involve everybody. And like they know me, I'm a very principled person, very affable, down to earth, communicate well, respect everybody. Because the rebuilding reflections and the recapture of political power is going to be on the shoulders of the national organizer and the other wings. So I can assure them that I'm coming with a very qualitative leadership that we have learned from our elders. One is with me, my big brother. I've learned from them way back, 30 years back, and I can assure them that we are coming to work. And for us, when we are working, we don't make noise. We want the results to show. So they should just keep calm, and in no time they will be seeing me in their constituencies. So I want to thank the National Council, the NEC, the Steering Committee for coming out with the dates for the process to begin in March. So wish everybody well. Thank you very much.
I'm just wondering how daunting this task, how uphill this task is going to be, given the kinds of outcomes that you recorded in the last elections. Quite clearly, among some of the factors that won the NDC the elections was the fact that there was massive apathy, within your rank and file. And so I'll come back after the break and ask you how you intend to bring back the love that appears to have been lost.
There are two conditions which needs to be satisfied. One, you need to convince the Ghanaian electorate that you can do better than you did in your last 2 terms. Because by the end of your last 2 terms, the indicators were horrible. And I think that many Ghanaians do not want to return to 2024. And, so that's a major tax. The other tax the party needs to perform is that by 2028, it needs to demonstrate that it can do better than the Mahama administration has done. These are 2 important tasks. One, that you are not going back to what you did in the 8 years that the people of Ghana gave you power, and that you can do better than what the current administration is doing. Now, if you listen to them, all the talk is about unity. Oh, if only we can unite. If you unite, and you can take inflation to 54%, who's going to care about your unity and so on? So they must understand that tax. The major tax is to show that they can deliver a performance which is much better than what we are getting today. And if they're able to do that, why not? They win, but it's an uphill tax. Okay. Then even if you come to this talk about unity, who are united? Because in 2024, there was a split in the party. So when they talk about unity, does that include efforts to heal that split, which led to the emergence of the United Party? As I'm listening to people in the United Party, I'm listening to Lawyer Pierre Dankwa, I'm listening to Solomon Owusu, and so on. I'm listening to former General Secretary of the party, Nano Hininto, and so on. I'm listening to Philip London, and they are swearing that they would never go back to the New Patriotic Party. You understand? So when they talk about unity, what does that mean? There was Dr. Amwaku Tufo, who was actually threatening to form a new political party. When they talk about unity, does that include people like Dr. Amwaku Tufo, who are not with Alan, who are disgruntled, and who don't want to be part of the New Patriotic Party? Does that include them? Now, when they talk about unity,
Oh, you mean the political science
exactly,
guy? It's
exactly.
not Makoto first, Mwako Doctor.
Amwakun something.
Whatever
his name is.
Yes. But I get it. Yeah.
Yes. You know.
Because I don't want us to confuse him with the founding father of the NPP.
No problem.
Late,
No problem.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know him.
Yes.
I know the chap you're talking about.
Amwakun
Yes.
something.
Makuba.
He used to be a lecturer at the KU University.
Yes,
Fantastic.
Political Science Department.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So when they're talking about unity, does that also include people like Professor Frimpong Boateng? Does it include people like Nyaho Tamakro and so on? Because true unity should be able to bring all these factions and individuals together. And I get the sense that when they talk about unity, they are talking about the unity of the newly elected presidential candidate and those who contested him. Is that unity enough? I'm not so sure that unity is enough. You understand? So these are some of the challenges they have. They are talking about reorganizing the party and so on. One of the things that they probably have to do is to also begin to rethink the way in which they communicate. And I'm sure that my brother is here and he would understand what I'm talking about. How do they communicate? This tendency to talk down to people, you know, and so on. It didn't work in the past, and I don't think that it's going to work now or in the future. So these are some of the elements that they have to grapple with when they talk about positioning the party to win elections in 2028. You know, I mean, not too long ago, you will remember one of the persons who is talking about resetting the agenda for the party and so on actually made a statement to the effect that his wish is for the current government to fail. And that if the current government does not fail, their chances of coming back to power will be limited. You remember that statement?
You discussed it on the show the other time.
That's a most irresponsible statement. What does it mean for the current government to fail? It means worsening the hardships that face our people and so on, you know. So one would expect that in their public engagement and so on, they'll be talking about positive things. They'll be talking about how to alleviate the sufferings of Ghanaians. They'll be talking about, you know, the crisis in Burkina Faso and what it means for Ghanaian agriculture and industry and so on. That's the way to mobilize people, not to publicly announce that they are praying for failure and more suffering for the Ghanaian and so on. So they have a lot of work to do.
But
I see some people in the New Patriotic Party who are properly focused, who understand the national situation and so on. But I doubt if they are given a hearing or if they are allowed to play crucial roles in the reorganization effort. You know.
But if you have a situation where...
Can I respond
to
what my big brother has just said? I take his concerns seriously, i.e. the performance of the NDC government and the way they are going. Is my big brother saying that he's comfortable with the performance of the government because of this artificial management of the economy, where the cocoa prices is exposing them? That is number one. Number two, you look at the cost of living now. I'm sure he buys power more than what he was buying some time ago. Okay? When you look at the ECG, the amounts that we are paying in the past 8 years was even more cheaper than what we are paying now. Okay? We need to interrogate these things very well. He promised cocoa farmers. The president was even telling us, those of us who don't even have land, we should start looking for land to go and cultivate cocoa farms, because the prices that are coming is so attractive. Do you know what I was saying? For the whole of last year, mass spraying was not done. He promised, when you look at their manifesto, I think page 41 to I think 42, There are a lot of things that they said about cocoa farmers. Boreholes, that they will construct boreholes in cocoa farms, that they can link to their cocoa trees, so that at least year round there will be water in these cocoa farms, so that they can boost cocoa production. What did you see? Children of cocoa farmers, where they are going to get these cocoa scholarships because of the free SHS that has taken over cocoa scholarships. What did we see? Nothing. So clearly, you see, there's a lot that we can talk about this government. Go to the farm. I've been sending you videos, Moro.
Yes, I've seen them.
I've sent you a couple of videos.
I've seen them.
There are no money for people to buy from the market.
We'll have a whole discussion about this.
No. I need to address.
That's our next topic. Okay?
Yes, I'm coming.
Don't take the wind out of
No,
the sails.
I'm not, because what Kwesi said, for me, it's so important.
Yeah.
I don't downplay it at all. The disgruntled members like Dr. Maguba, I'll go look for him.
Okay.
Kwesi, I've gone to look for Dr. Nyawotabako to surprise you.
You have?
worked, yes.
When was that?
Oh, so I think about a few months ago, before the Christmas.
Oh, okay.
For a long time, I've not met him.
Okay.
When I was running for regional secretary in 2009 and 10,
Okay.
he was my regional chairman candidate. They trained me with Danado, Kwesi, Kukubaku, Nyawotabako, and all that.
You are hopeful he'll be back on board?
I've met him.
Actively.
I've spoke to him.
What sense did you get?
I mean, he looks good, positive.
Okay.
It looks positive. So you see, I'm happy he's making all these revelations to us. We see them. And also, Kwesi, history has taught us, anybody who breaks from a mother party does not survive. Look at Guzitano in 2000, the Reform Party. He couldn't make any impact. Kofodua, my big sister, Frances Esiam, Bidzidin, and Dr. What do you call it, Obeda Samoa, they broke away. What happened?
That's the DFP. Democratic Freedom
But Professor
Party.
Mills, may he so rest in peace, realized that there's a need for unity in the NDC. He reached out all these people and brought them on board. To the Bidzidin is the MD for Laura. It's an achievement. It means that when you have a leader who's ready to listen, regardless of everything, to reach these people and bring it aboard, it can be done. It's only the Nakonedus, may he so rest in peace too, that they could not reach her to bring it back into the NDC. But I know they were processed through Zenato to make sure they bring their mother back into the NDC. So if Alan has gone, he's a human being. Dr. Amakuba, I heard him say he's left the party. Maybe he's angry at one or two things. I am ready, when I'm elected national organizer, to go and reach him.
You didn't talk about reaching out to Alan. Why? You just said Alan has gone.
No, what I'm saying is,
You've given up on Alan, Chairmancy.
I have no problem.
You've given up on him?
I have not.
Okay.
Even though some party members were not comfortable the way after the presidential special voting that led him to leave. That is not the end of the road.
But your position is that
You know,
would
so
make the effort to bring him back.
It's important to reach out all these people.
Okay.
And Dr. Bamian is doing that. He has started doing it. He's the type who does most of the things undercover. You come to your home, talk to you nicely, let's come together. That is how you build it. So if other people have done it, what stops us from reaching that goal? So I think
unity is possible.
It is
That's
key.
the point you're making.
So Kwesi, I take that in good faith and we'll work towards it. Between now to 2028 is a long time.
Okay, let me ask you this. At the Thanksgiving service, I noticed two things. So, Kenneth Japon was not there. Dr. Brian Champon was not there. Were you at the Thanksgiving service?
I was there. I was dancing all over the place.
Do you have any idea why the two of them were not present?
I can't tell.
Okay.
Because I knew, in fact, I asked.
And closely related to that, why haven't they gone to congratulate? Personally, I mean, physically congratulate
I can't tell why.
the flag bearer. They still haven't done
I think
that.
Brian has been there.
Brian has been there?
I
No,
think it's
I
only
haven't seen
Kennedy.
any video. I mean, if
It's
Brian,
only Ken-
if Brian
it's
has
only-
been,
he's not been
if
there.
Brian has visited, and I'm not aware.
It's
I know from
only
asking.
Kennedy, Honorable Kennedy, I knew he's not been there.
Okay.
But I know they've been talking on phone and other things. But maybe physically they wanted to see him in his house and see. I can't tell.
Okay.
Maybe it's time for the
His spokesperson has explained that he was out of town, came back the day after the Thanksgiving, but he doesn't even believe, and I'm talking about Kweku Kwati, he said he doesn't believe that you must necessarily go to the flag bearer's house and go and be seen congratulating him again. You know, it's in fact, he was even asking the question, where from that culture, where somebody has won an elections and then you must be seen to be going to the person's house, cameras and everything showing that you're congratulating the person to signal that unity is back. For him, unity more has to do with the person's determination and decision that I want to help the flag bearer. That for him is most important.
Kennedy said this at the party headquarters in the night.
Right.
He was the first to speak among his colleagues, and he gave his word that he want to support him wholeheartedly to make sure that.
So Kweku believes that should be enough.
You know, but some want to look at the optics while people are going to his home.
But do you agree?
Well, it's a choice.
That is not necessary.
It's a choice to him whether to go to his house or what he said at the party headquarters on Saturday night on 31st. That alone is enough. But I know they've been talking on phone. I mean, whatever they've been talking.
This is the first time you're going to seek for a position after a flag bearer of your party has been elected.
What is your
Have
problem?
you looked at the dynamics of it?
What is your problem?
No, I don't have a problem.
We have our party.
No, I'm not saying that.
No. The media, you are not happy about how we have. Cool down.
I'm just saying that this is
cool down. You are not the only person.
Yes.
Who tried to drive through that.
No, don't get me wrong.
Thinking that.
At all.
Cool down. You've asked me a question.
Yes.
Let me respond for you and your viewers. A lot of people are making that thinking that we should have started from the brown all the way up to the presidential.
I don't think you have an opinion on that.
Oh, cool down. Please, don't interject me.
Okay.
I told you there was a history, there was a background why we wanted to do the presidential elections first. It came out of the Professor Michael Kwesi report when they moved around the country to find out why we lost the elections and the reason why they felt that there's a need to do the presidential election first, and that was the basis.
Yes.
Every election there is strategy.
Yes.
The methodology, everything will change. So that is what we believe was good for us. And you look at all over the noise, the talking, not even the aspirants, even their supporters.
Yeah.
So now that we have moved from there, now it's about how to rebuild the party itself, the structures itself, and that is the focus that we are on now. So please, just keep cool and pray for us, and I can assure you that we'll get to the bottom of it.
So, I mean, I just get the right that it makes a difference. Okay, doesn't make a difference.
Because hitherto we start from the ground all the way to the presidential.
Yes.
But sitting back, observing the trend, the way things are going, the recommendation by Professor Okoye reports it out. Let's take this one off first, and by that time the tension will subside. Then we can look at how we can.
I didn't answer my question.
I've answered your question.
My question is,
you said normally we do
difference for your campaign, Alo? Will it make a difference?
Not at all. Not at all.
Fine.
Not at all.
That's fine.
Not at all.
That's all I wanted to know.
Titus Glover is a brand. It's a brand in our party and in this country.
Yes.
So I protect my name jealously. Trust me.
I would have.
We were talking about slave trade when
I'll let you have a bite on that. That's one question.
I didn't just say what party you are.
Well, first of all,
I
get very worried
Okay.
when those in political parties running for office declare that this is our party. Suggesting that they can decide everything by themselves and do everything they want because it's their party is not true.
Right.
One, political parties are public institutions seeking the mandate of the people to manage public resources. And therefore, every Ghanaian has an interest in how political parties function and manage themselves. Because ultimately, these political parties are going to seek a mandate to control our lives for 4 years. So every Ghanaian, whether they are members of the parties or not, have an interest in what happens in the political parties, all the political parties. And I think that's an important point to make. The second point to make is that in the reorganization of the New Patriotic Party, I think that they should confront reality rather than bury their heads in assumptions and so on. So my brother posed the question whether I believe that this government is doing well. What I believe is neither here nor there, is immaterial. Where is the scientific evidence on the performance of the current administration? And go to all the opinion polls. All the opinion polls suggest that the vast majority of the people of Ghana think that this government is doing well. That is where you have to start from, not individual opinions, not what I think or don't think. Take Global Info Analytics, see the statistics, see the data, and then deal with that. Because the data is that the vast majority of the people of Ghana are happy with the performance of this administration.
There's an IEA one.
There's an IEA one, all of them.
That came out just last week.
So what I think is not important. Deal with the reality. And the reality is the aggregate of views of Ghanaians, which is reflected in the opinion polls. So that's what you deal with.
Can I come in?
No, please, I haven't finished.
Oh, go ahead.
But if you want to come in, I can keep quiet.
Sorry. I thought you had done.
It's not a
Forgive
problem.
me.
And then, my brother, you make reference to the artificial management of the economy, and I'm confused. What is the artificial management of the economy? What does it mean? I've never come across that expression. Artificial management of the economy. What is it? So I'm lost as to what is being spoken about now. Now, you see, in assessing the performance of a government, you don't just take one sector and then based on your evaluation of that sector, come to a conclusion about the performance of the government. So even if everybody agrees with you, even if everybody agrees with you that the cocoa sector is badly managed, it doesn't mean that the government is doing badly. Because there are other sectors which could improve. Now, there's reference to utility, the cost of utility to citizens. How is that a problem for this administration? I doubt. The last PURC review in 2024 left us in no doubt that utility cost was going to go up in the years ahead. It's not new, we have been expecting it. Nothing has happened which is extraordinary with regards to utility costs. They've been going up over the last 10 years and more, every year. There's no year where utility prices have come down. So to use increases in the cost of utility to citizens as a basis for calling for regime change and so on is a bit unwieldy. It doesn't add up. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't add up. That's the problem. Now, with the cost of living, again, the data is there. Ghana Statistical Service has a lot of data. The Bank of Ghana has a lot of data and so on. I'm not so sure that today anybody can argue that the cost of living is rising. What you can do is to pick the prices or cost of certain services and goods and say that they have gone up. So, because the official position is that inflation has dropped to 3.8. Is my figure correct?
Fact.
I think so.
That's a fact.
It has dropped to 3.8.
Yes.
Now that is an admission that prices are generally, on the average, not dropping. Because the rate of inflation, in economic terms, is the rate at which prices rise. So if inflation is at 3.8, it means that on average, generally, prices are rising by 3.8%. While some time ago, they rose by 54%. Indeed, by the close of 2024, December, inflation was around 27-point-something%.
It was around 22.
Okay.
22%.
Okay, let's say 22%. Okay?
Yes.
So what this means is that the rate at which prices rise has been lowered. Is that good or bad? It's up for us, all of us, to judge. And I don't think that anybody is going to argue that this is bad. You understand? Now, my brother here also has dwelt a lot on the cocoa sector. I'm taking note of the fact that he said that it's a substantive topic which we are going to discuss.
Right.
So I'll reserve my comments for now.
Yeah, that's our next
when
topic.
it comes up, we can look at it. But these are some of the things that we need.
Moro, thank you very much. In as much as
Global Info
Global Info Analytics
and IE.
and IE have come out with their study to talk about stabilized economy, I want to appeal to the two institutions to go to the cocoa farmers. That is a reality. The cocoa farmers is also a constituency within the country. I'm sure they are listening to them. They are watching them on various platforms.
Okay.
And the kind of anger and pain and the level of deceit that this government has done to the cocoa farmer. When you promise the 6,000 Ghana cedis, because Akufo-Addo were not
We
doing
know when you
well.
want to introduce the topic there.
Nikwesi awodi yekeba adi muma yego.
So that's our next
So it is very clear that we need to. I will share the cocoa one.
Yes.
But Kwesi, with the greatest of respect, in as much as inflation has dwindled to 3.8%, this is not reflective on the ground. This is not. And Akufo-Addo government, utilities were not increased as the way they did. It's a fact. It's a fact we need to let the people know. Government services have all shut up. Go to Abosokai. They will tell you the duties they are paying. And how is it reflecting on the prices on their wares. I am not telling them. It's all over the space that people are talking. I thought that when I see the video, I share some with you and other media friends. The agri minister went up north. They went to inaugurate some program about these crops. One of the chiefs from the north, Tamale area, complained that they produce the sorghums, the millets, the rice. People are not buying them. You said we shouldn't talk about this. Is this not a problem?
My friend, please don't do that to me. I've not said on this platform
sorry,
that you shouldn't talk about anything.
Sorry.
No, let me finish. I've told you that personal views are not important.
Let me take it back. Let me take it back.
Please don't do that to me. It's not fair.
Let me take it back.
Yes.
So I'm saying that this economy is an aphrodisiac economy because to reduce inflation to 3.8%, CD dollar has been stabilized. Petrol prices has been what? Dwindled. When it is reduced at the world market, that one the president is doing well. But when it's increased in the world market, it's not from him. So all I'm saying is that what they are telling us is not what is reflecting on the ground.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity for NPP to explain to the people of this country that this is deception.
Okay.
That is what I'm talking about.
All right.
So clearly, when you go to the cocoa area, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I think I have the floor to talk about the slave trade.
Yes. Yes, for just a few minutes. He wants to talk about the reparation issue.
The reparation,
and then we'll move to.
Tell him to come early next time.
Thank you. Advice we'll take
we'll get on with the cocoa.
I think that Moro,
yes,
we need to commend the president for this work that he has started in terms of reparation of slave trade. But going through history, we are taught that the slave trade started around the 15th century thereabouts, and there were so many royal charters, trade licenses, colonial laws that were passed from the Portuguese to the Spanish, the British, and other people, just to make sure that the commercialization of this slave trade was really, really, really active.
Right.
And what is the essence of the slave trade? It's all about providing cheap labor in their plantations, the infrastructure in these countries. And I will share with you offline that studying in Warwick University when I was doing my master's, Moro, during term time, we go and do 20 hours a week. But on vacation, you can do as many hours you want. And you go and look for a job, they'll tell you that they wanted British nationals or EU nationals. But the question I asked in class, one of my lecturers, is that my forebears were used as slaves to develop this country. These undergrad you see in London, all over the places, were all slave labor that were used. So clearly you can see the level of sacrifices that Africans have contributed in the development of these economies. Some were even thrown into the sea because they couldn't reach their destinations. So if President Mahama has started this fight, sometimes you want to be emotional because you look at the contribution and the kind of things that we have done. It is something that would need to continue to engage. And I'm happy he's not doing this alone. But he talked about 5 key points about these reparations that he talked about. The call for recognition of the slave trade as a crime.
Right.
Indeed. For you to forcefully capture somebody out of his will and sell him into labor, it's a crime that we need to talk about. When you go to Sankana, where I'm the chief there, because see, there's a slave area. You see these stones, Kenedimona's place. You see these caves that when these slave merchants are coming, they come and pick the people. So they fight back and they go and hide in these caves. Sometimes they are injured with the guns, with the arrows, they treat them and go back and fight to defend their people. So if the president is talking about how to see this slave trade as a crime, I'm in it. I support fully.
Okay.
He also talked about advocate for justice. And indeed, we need to have that thing done, addressed.
Right.
Because for over 300 years of this slave trade, we have never had justice. And it's very key that he's talking about these things. And the need for us also to establish a broad and tangible, debt cancellation, monetary compensation. And because he talked about African artifacts, all these things were lost. And as much as they are taking our people forcefully away, they also stole some of our artifacts. They took them away. So clearly, this is an agenda that is not his agenda alone. And that is why he has started the discussion that his colleagues, presidents in the African Union can buy into this project. So that together we'll be able to raise the awareness and get the right ear. And what is the ear? The United Nations platform, the EU platform, where you meet those top leaders. We need to let them know that they have not treated us well. He also talked about debt cancellation. Over 12 million Africans were taken as slaves. So clearly, it is a call, a good call that we all need to support him to make sure we drive hard on this reparation matter that we're talking about. So I'm in for it.
All right. So let's get on with our next topic, and it's about cocoa.
Well, just a question.
Okay.
Just a very simple, harmless question.
Okay.
My brother Titus Glover is casting doubt on the claim that the current inflation rate is 3.8.
Yes.
So what is the true inflation rate? If it's not 3.8,
what I'm saying is that it's not reflective. Yes, it doesn't reduce to 3.8, but when you go to the ground, it's not reflective. It's not. If inflation is reduced to 3.8, why would we charge more on utilities? Why are the university paying increasing their fees? Why are government services increasing? Why are the traders crying? Why are people not coming up to buy? So, because that is my little understanding. If indeed inflation has come down, it should reflect in the pockets.
You see, Titus, let me explain something to you. How inflation is calculated. They always use the example of the basket. They put so many things in the basket. You know that.
I know it.
So why are you talking like this?
But please, the price.
So why are you talking like
I'm talking like that because when I go to the market, even though it doesn't put in the basket to reach 3.8%, that is what is reflecting on the ground. There's a problem. Let us admit it.
So can I explain
Go ahead.
Because it seems to me that you still don't understand. So utility tariffs may be just one of the items which is used to strike the averages, which leads to 3.8%.
Right.
So you cannot just point to utility tariffs and say that because utility tariffs have risen, 3.8 is meaningless or it's not realistic.
Right.
I mean, that's not economics at all.
Right.
You know, that's not economics at all.
All right, let's do this. Cocoa politics. It appears that your very good friend, Randy Abbey, his head is on the block, the chopping block.
He's a very good friend.
And yes, he's a very good friend as well. I mean,
But when I call, he doesn't pick.
He doesn't.
He doesn't pick my calls.
He doesn't pick your calls. Oh, but that's
So he's no longer your good friend.
He's still my brother, not a friend. He's my brother.
He's your brother.
But he doesn't pick my call, even before this problem came.
Okay.
So
all
reaching
right.
for me, maybe when you call him, you pick.
All right.
He's watching us now.
I'm sure.
And
I'm
they
sure
can job
he was. All right. So you're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television.
Because
Let's
the person who picks his
calls.
calls.
Yes, I'm
all the
surprised.
time.
Anyway,
Have their price been reduced or not?
what is very
The bottom line is that you have reduced their prices.
True.
And they are not happy about it.
I agree with you. All right. I'm with you.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to set the record straight. No cocoa farmer has come forward to say that they are happy with the decrease in cocoa price. What I've heard cocoa farmers say is that they understand why the price has been reduced. And that we should not just be looking at the price, we should also be looking at the supply of inputs and other incentives to cocoa farmers.
Right.
That's what I've heard. Indeed, the cocoa farmer that was referred to spoke about the fact that for a long time they couldn't get fertilizers and so on. And that now, even with the decrease, they are getting fertilizer and other inputs. Spoke about the fact that roads to their farms were inaccessible. There's one farmer who actually said that, look, their farms were being destroyed by galamseyers and so on. Now, in his district, he sees a marked improvement in the fight against galamsey and so on. So this is what the cocoa farmers are saying.
Right.
Some cocoa farmers are saying.
saying.
You know, don't let us assume that cocoa farmers are idiots. They are not.
Yeah.
Indeed, it is their sweat and toil which makes us survive, you know, as urbanites, whatever, you understand? So I think we should quote them properly.
Right.
Now, Moro, this is not the first time in our history that we've come face to face with cocoa politics. It happened before in Dan Nkrumah,
Okay.
with very devastating consequences for the country. Maybe you don't remember.
Okay.
But you see, during the Nkrumah era, I think it was in the early 60s, the cocoa industry was hit by the swollen shoot disease. And the remedy was for government to cut down the cocoa trees so that the infection is limited. The opponents to Nkrumah, the Dankwa Buziaists, jumped on this, and this is a historical record, I'm not making it up, and instigated cocoa farmers against the Nkrumah government. And they did it in some way, without regards to scientific analysis and so on. Blamed Nkrumah for the swollen shoot disease and so on. Eventually, this was one of the reasons that was given by those who truncated the Nkrumah government, leading to the kind of disaster that we continue to suffer today. So this is not the first time that we're having cocoa politics. We've had it in our history before. The historical reference is important. Now, today, I am so surprised that anybody who knows about the cocoa industry can claim that the crisis in the cocoa industry is caused by Randy Abbey. And that all this is happening because over the last few months, Randy Abbey became the chief executive of the Cocoa Marketing Board. Where is this coming from? I mean, so strange, unbelievable. To the extent that they are holding press conferences calling for the removal of Randy Abbey. And how is this tenable? And I'm happy that Titus has distanced himself from that call. Because that call doesn't make any sense. Moro, before the NDC came to power in 2025, over a period of about 4 to 5 years, on this very platform, we have been discussing the cocoa industry. One of the issues that we discussed consistently was the fact that many of the indigenous LBCs were collapsing, and that cocoa buying had become the preserve of foreign LBCs. It's a matter that we discussed here long before the NPP left power.
Right.
That's one of the problems, you understand, and I can go into a lot more detail. One of the issues that we discussed here was that cocoa production had reduced, had fallen by about 50%.
Yeah.
For two main reasons. One, diseased trees. Cocoa trees were becoming diseased. They needed to be cut down in order to be replaced with new plants and so on. We discussed that here. That was one of the problems confronting the industry. The second problem confronting the industry was simply that galamsey had led to the destruction of many cocoa farms, and production had been reduced by about 50%. Okay? Now, we have been doing forward sales of cocoa. And the reality is that because production was dwindling, we were not able to meet all the commitments that we had made. So, there were a number of years in which we couldn't supply the cocoa that we had contracted ourselves to supply. So as the price started going up, we were earning less than the world market price because of forward sales. The cocoa industry was losing revenue.
Yeah.
Cocoa Marketing Board was losing revenue. The Ghana government was losing revenue as a result of this forward sales as well.
Because you've locked yourself in.
You've locked yourself in.
You can't do anything.
Now beyond that, situations became so dire that by the time the Akufo-Addo government was leaving office, lending from external sources for the purchase of cocoa has stopped. If I'm lying, tell me that I'm lying.
The syndicated loan model has stopped.
It has stopped.
Yeah.
So we're now scrambling to find resources in order to pay for the cocoa that we were purchasing.
By the LBCs.
Yes.
They had to go and find the money to go and buy the cocoa from the farmers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was a huge problem with financing cocoa purchases by the time the NPP was leaving government.
True.
Okay? Now, also, the value addition in the industry had suffered tremendously by the time the NPP was leaving government. That suffered so badly, you know. Coupled with this is overstaffing. Have you seen the staff list?
Yeah.
Have you? Overstaffing had become a huge problem in the Cocoa Marketing Board. You know, everybody was being placed there and so on. The Mahama administration came to power and wanted to do something about it, and a lot of pressure was put on them, and they quickly retreated and said anybody at post, stay at post and so on. Even though the government was finding it tremendously difficult to find the resources to pay the workers. In fact, one official of the Cocoa Board publicly stated that if you look at their budget, they were spending more than 2/3 of their total budget on staff emoluments. So the crisis was there. It is not a Randy Abbey created crisis. This crisis existed before Randy Abbey became chief executive of Cocoa Marketing Board. If I lie, tell me. The two of you, if I lie, just tell me. You understand? This is the situation. Now, the producer price of cocoa has been reduced. And that's a fact. It has been reduced. Why? If you reduce the earnings of anybody, any people working in the sector and so on, it is painful.
Yeah.
You understand? It is very, very painful.
Yeah.
Okay? So nobody can say that, look, the cocoa farmers should accept it. It's okay and so on. Even though there are other factors that we have to look at. And what are the factors that we have to look at? All of us are saying that we are happy that the exchange rate has come down drastically. It went all the way up to 17 cedis to $1. Now it's come down to a 10 point something to $1 and so on. What does that mean? What that means is that when you export your cocoa, the cedis you get for your export is reduced. Am I lying?
Yeah.
If I'm lying, tell me that I'm lying.
That's it.
If the exchange rate improves, if the cedi becomes stronger, it simply means that when you export your cocoa and you get paid on the international market, the equivalent in cedis is also reduced.
True.
As a result of improvement in the cedi rate.
Absolutely.
We need to factor that in.
Yeah.
You understand? And then this discussion would ultimately end up in the purchasing power to the farmer, the purchasing power of what is sold, what the farmer sells, and so on. But that's one point.
Economists call it the real income.
Thank you.
Yes,
my
the
brother,
real
thank
income.
you. Master, in addition to this, and I'm listening to the farmers, and of course the farmers are divided. It does appear that there are some farmers who strongly support the NPP position, and there are some farmers who say that they understand the situation and so on. Why? You know the crisis of fertilizer for cocoa farmers. You know that.
Right.
Master, the crisis of fertilizer for cocoa farmers.
Yes.
Where should I repeat it?
No, you don't have to. I think it's public knowledge.
At a certain point, we knew that the farmers were not getting fertilizers. They were not getting the inputs and so on. And they made so much noise. Now, not me. I don't know the industry. I haven't visited a cocoa farm in the last 10 years. I don't know. But I'm listening to cocoa farmers, and they say that now the inputs are coming.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard them.
Yeah.
You've seen the tapes and so on. So it means that there is some improvement. Now, be that as it may, who would be angry if it was possible to pay the cocoa farmers 10 million cedis per bag? Who would be angry?
Nobody.
Who will be angry? Will the cocoa farmers be angry because we are paying them 10 million cedis per bag? No, they won't be angry. But if we are responsible, any responsible citizen who is calling for increasing the producer price of cocoa should be telling us where the money should be coming from. Otherwise, it is irresponsible. Pay them. Where is the money coming from? What in the national budget should we sacrifice in order to pay cocoa farmers? And if we're able to come and say, look, this expenditure is not worth it, this expenditure is useless, and that we might as well divert this expenditure in order to pay cocoa farmers, then we're making sense. Then we can come along. But simply shouting, pay them, and so on, it's a bit problematic for me. It doesn't sound very responsible for politicians to just be shouting, pay them, without showing us where the money is going to come from. I hope I make some sense.
I follow your argument.
Because clearly, the indicators are that even in dollar terms, the purchasing price of our cocoa has come down.
Yeah.
Even in dollar terms. If you come to add the significant improvement in exchange rate, the cedi's exchange rate and so on, the cedi value also comes down again. So what is it that we can do in terms of balancing our needs, our aspirations and so on, in order to be able to generate sufficient resources to pay the cocoa farmer what is decent? Then the question arises as to what really is decent,
right,
and so on. You have to address it and stop this populism. You understand? The way we're doing essentially is populism. You've seen the weakness. You've seen the government struggling to find resources to pay cocoa farmers. Let us dip in there and deepen the crisis in the hope that we'll come to power. That's irresponsible politicking. Completely irresponsible politicking.
Well, how do you respond to other people who say, and I've heard the spokesperson for the minorities, I think is a ranking member on agriculture and cocoa affairs. Now he says that the government should take the blame for bringing the cedi, for appreciating the cedi, because that is what is hurting, is one of the things that's hurting the cocoa farmers. So the government must take full responsibility for that.
Fantastic. No, really fantastic.
Yes.
So
why did you strengthen the cedi?
Fantastic. That's what I'm saying. So the opposition is angry with government for making the cedi stronger.
Yes.
Okay. What do you want me to say?
Okay.
No, do you want me to say anything?
No, you don't have to.
The person is saying that we are angry with government for making the city stronger,
Yes, and
that the city should have remained very weak.
They warned the government against bringing friends appreciating the city. They said they warned the government, and that was going to hurt exports.
Well, I'm not saying it.
Yes.
Did I say it?
No, you didn't.
They are saying it.
Yes.
That we should whip the government for making the city strong. Everybody is listening.
Okay.
Everybody will make their own judgment.
All right. All right.
Moro.
So let me do this. Let me read a few messages.
Before you read the messages.
A few messages that I can bring you in. Let me bring in the viewers. Because we actually have just 5 minutes to go. I beg you. Let me bring in the viewers. We've been talking for almost two and a half hours.
Yes. I will surrender it to
him.
Titus.
Okay. All right. So Eben says that Moro, I agree perfectly with Uncle Pratt's submission that Dr. Randy can't be blamed at all. Randy should rather stay and bring more reforms to the sector. The NPP noisemakers should give us a break.
And in fact, Moro, who says that it is the chief executive of Cocoa Board who determines the producer price?
No, he doesn't.
Only
please don't. Please don't.
Only somebody who doesn't know about the cocoa industry can come to that conclusion. Anyway, chief executives don't determine the producer price. So
Collins Adumako Mensah says I should say hello to you.
Oh, hi Collins, how are you?
And that he said he's wondering why you would expect me to remember what happened in 1957. No, I don't think he said that exactly. But yes, but I get it, Collins. I get it. Koticho Mbafo says that, look, Moro, it's very strange to me that Joseph Boahin Edu was the chief executive officer of Cocoa Board for 8 years. After he left office, his son has now become the arch defender of his tenure in office. Can anyone remind me whether they have seen sons defending the legacy of their fathers after they have left office? Also, is it true that in 2023-2024, cocoa farmers weren't paid for 9 months? Did the NPP hold press conference asking for the CEO to be sacked? Kojo Chumbafu wants to know. Alhaji Hamza from Peg Farm says that, Assalamu alaikum, my brother in Islam. It is sad listening to the functionaries of the NPP and minority group in Parliament speak about the crisis in the cocoa sector. I hear the minority calling on government to borrow to settle the cocoa farmers. My brother, the reason behind the idea is to force the government to go back to the IMF so that they can use that as a campaign message. I will call on cocoa farmers to bear with President Mahama, and very soon their problems will be resolved. Moro, Randy is not going anywhere today and will not go anywhere tomorrow. They should give us a reason for him to go. That's from Hamza. Now, this one here from Kwame Saponasedu from the CDD, a very good friend. He says that inflation is 3.8%. This means prices are increasing at an average of that rate compared to last year. Can Honorable Titus tell us the percentage by which the items he quotes have increased by his view? Can he then check by what percentages those items have increased as per the inflation report released by the Ghana Statistical Service? Based on that, can he explain what he means by the inflation rate doesn't reflect? Hopefully that will make me get his point. Now, Kwame Acidity says that, good morning. The current cocoa reduction is largely due to falling world market prices and inherited debt by previous government. And many farmers are satisfied despite the reduction because they receive free fertilizers and agrochemicals. And it's a special greetings to Dr. Adam Sebefia, incoming NDC National Vice Chair. And this one here from Kofi Apenu says that, please tell Honorable Glover, the Ghanaians have read in between the lines. Bamia will soon be dragged before the law. The bottom-up election of him is to be used in his defense. They would say because the NDC knows he would win the 2028 election, that's so they want him imprisoned. This is all the bottom-up approach was meant for, nothing more. Kofi, I don't quite get the import of your message. Anyway,
it's very clear. You can disagree with him,
but he's going to drag Dr. Bamia to the court and so on. I don't know for crime committed.
You are right.
Yeah.
I don't know what crime Dr. Bamia has committed.
Okay.
But he's saying that he was elected early because of the possibility that he'll be dragged before the court.
Okay, that's what you meant.
This is to provide an excuse.
Okay, like a shield.
Like a shield.
Okay. All right, so Dr. Nawata Maklo is there.
We can all disagree with him.
That's fine.
Yes,
Dr. Nawata Maklo, yes. Good morning. We're getting fed up with the important national issues being politicized by the political class. The cocoa issue is a serious issue and must be handled as such. And it says that politics must be taken out of it. And the rank and file are getting fed up with serious national issues being politicized. I totally agree with you. The politicization of every facet of our lives is a big problem. A very big problem.
I can come in now.
So, and then finally, and I can give you some 2 minutes. From Mystic Wonder Avuko inside the Sawami, says, good morning to you. Today, the incompetent, disorganized, confused MP has begun the spokes has become the spokesperson for the cocoa farmers after they mismanaged the economy miserably and messed up with the cocoa sector. The Nana Dr. Bamia-led government took COVID-19 levy from Ghanaians, which Ivory Coast did not. But today, the hypocrites NPP are comparing cocoa price in Ghana to that of Ivory Coast. Odupa, you can come in.
Moro.
Yes, sir.
Kwesi is saying that the minority's explanation or statement to let Ghanaians know the agony and the deception that the NDC government has given the cocoa farmers is an irresponsible political. I find it a bit unfortunate. I find it totally unfortunate.
Why?
That this is the pain that cocoa farmers are going through. And as a minority in parliament,
You are interpreting what I said.
Kwesi.
Interpretation is not exactly what I said.
Kwesi. When you're talking, I was quiet.
Yes.
So please,
okay.
just be in the seat. What you are saying that what the minority said is irresponsible politicking.
Okay.
What is so painful that cocoa farmers have had their their prices reduced, and they are talking all over the place. Ghanaians are contributing to that conversation, and we said that conversation is irresponsible politicking.
You see what he's doing.
It's not fair.
Please advise him.
Well,
it's not fair.
Advise him.
Number two.
No, that's his interpretation of what he said.
So he should say that's his interpretation of what I said.
Okay, that is my interpretation of what he said.
Exactly.
Good.
So keep it.
Because the viewers are watching us. They are watching us.
Yes.
Again, from the days of Adam, cocoa syndication has been used to buy beans all over the country. But in 2024, when they did the cost analysis, averagely between $120 to $150 million, the amount that will procure or will succeed, they decided no, we can't spend $120 million to $150 million as costs. So cocoa buyers, if indeed you want our beans, this is our accounts. Okay? Pay the money into the account, we'll do the necessary arrangement and supply with the beans. What is more rational, what is more important than this one?
Okay.
And the NDC are complaining that we didn't arrange syndication. We did not arrange syndication because the cost of the syndication was becoming too expensive.
Okay.
So would that $120 to $150 million can be used in another form to support the cocoa farmers.
Okay.
Nothing has changed. The cost of labor a day in the criminally managed economy under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia was 50 cedis a day. Cocoa labor.
Cocoa labor?
Yes.
How much is it today?
50 cedis a day. Now it has gone to 120. I heard the cocoa farmers. They spend 50 cedis a day labor on their cocoa farms. Now it has gone between 100 to 120 cedis a day. The chemicals they use has moved. Has moved from 100 cedis to 200 cedis.
So how?
It depends on the area.
How is that possible?
That is what is happening. I watch them on social media in their videos. They are
But those
complaining.
chemicals are supposed to be cheaper today than they were
Please.
And
I'm giving you the video. You watch the video.
No, I haven't said
The videos I've been sending you.
I'm just saying I don't.
I'm asking you. Don't ask me. You watch the video I send you.
I'll watch it.
Watch the videos.
I will.
Because I know you ask me questions. That's why I send them to you.
Really?
So that you be in sync with me when I'm making my analysis.
But that's serious.
I'm telling you, this is what they are going through.
That's serious.
That is what they are going through. At bottom line, no rational cocoa farmer will be happy that they have reduced his price. Then he will clap for government. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen anywhere. So those who are sitting on high horse, praising the government for reducing cocoa farmers, the cocoa farmers are there. Global Info Analytics and IEA, they should go to the cocoa farmers. It's a whole major constituency in this country and find out whether they are happy for government to reduce their price. At worst, maintain it for them.
Right.
Cote d'Ivoire is here. Why have they maintained at 3,600? They should also reduce it. So for me,
you know
I am not the problem. The minority is not the problem.
Right. You know
the problem is on the government.
You know the point you made.
They should go and fix it.
You know the point you made about 2024. And your reason, or what you know, has been the reason why the government had a shift in policy from doing syndicated to now asking the LBCs to go and buy. You say it was because it was becoming more expensive.
And of course, that was.
But I've also heard Randy Abbey, who's the chief executive, say that it had become expensive because Cocoa Board's books were very bad. Remember the 70 billion cocoa bills, which had to be restructured as part of the DDP.
When did this
The market watchers had seen the books of Cocoa Board, and I noticed that, look, if this guy, if we give them this loan, they can't pay. And that's why they floated, they applied, but nobody was ready.
They never applied.
No, they said they did. They did.
Master, they
They never applied. In fact, they did.
I have listened to Randy. What do you call it?
Randy even said it.
Brian.
Echampo.
But Echampo saying that giving the reason why would not go for the syndication.
No, they tried.
Because of the cost involved. I had Brian clear.
So question now is clearly anyway. We are
not good that you not go and ask them to pay.
It doesn't make sense.
And supply.
It doesn't make sense.
Obviously, we have to.
After running the cocoa industry for so long,
yes,
we need loans to purchase cocoa from farmers. That policy is a bad policy. It doesn't make sense at all. You understand?
Right.
But nonetheless, we could not qualify for the loan because of the state of our books.
It's as simple as that. Okay. Mr. Kwesi Pratt, I want to thank you very much for joining us, and it's been a very interesting conversation today.
And special thanks to Titus Glover.
Is it?
Thank you to my God.
Special thanks to Titus Glover for having the nerve
why
to stay through this discussion, stay with some vim, you know.
That's why he's here. To defend his party. And his government.
Because if it's in Akufado's time, I know they will be so hard on us. But today you are playing safe.
No, Master,
you want to navigate well, knowing him, knowing Kwesi how he is. So hard on Akufado Baumia. You see that he's dancing around the whole thing, making sure. Kwesi, please. I know you like the way you know yourself. I know you like the way you know yourself. So Kwesi, please.
Throughout my life, I've never been closer to any president Ghana has had than to Nana Akufo-Addo.
Oh, really?
Nana Akufo-Addo, I used to eat every day, breakfast and lunch in his house. Wow. I used to see him every day.
So what changed?
Ask Nana Akufo-Addo, he'll tell you. The positions I take is not based on my friendship with leaders. I take principal positions when I come to sit here. If I was taking positions on the basis of friendship with presidents and so on, I'll be lying down for Nana Akufo-Addo to walk all over me. You know it. So stop that kind of politics.
Yeah.
My politics is not informed by who is my friend. It's informed by rational examination of the issues before us, and honesty, and a commitment to my country.
Okay, see, the same rationality. And this cocoa matter is it doesn't affect.
But you know the friendship between me and Nana Akufo-Addo. You know.
I know.
So how can we make such a claim?
So what I'm saying is that, of course, you'll be hitting hard. And that's why I'm measuring you with the same blade. This is Cocoa Manta. You should speak for them.
But there's this question that keeps coming up. In fact, since Randy started his media outings or his media engagement, there's a question which keeps coming up because Randy keeps talking about how he inherited a mess. What was bequeathed to him.
and Randy together. Pair them on your show.
No, Miba. And how there have been some either misappropriation or criminal handling of the state of affairs and things. The question which keeps coming up, and I don't know whether Uncle Kwesi can help me with this, but which is that, look, when you indeed came across these sets of facts, what did you do with them?
It's a legitimate question. That question should not be directed to Randy. It should be directed to the NDC government. If it's true that all this rot was unearthed in the Cocoa Board, what did you do about it? Why did you have to wait for this crisis to emerge before you start pointing us to the rot that existed in the Cocoa Board? That's a legitimate question.
Moro.
So listen.
My only input I can make on this matter is
okay.
In fact, when the cabinet met on this cocoa,
the emergency cabinet meeting,
one of the key points was investigation, forensic audit in the last 8 years. And for me, it should go beyond that. It should go back to the time of President Mahama from 2012 coming, for us to know exactly. But when you limit it to the last 8 years, you're not being fair. Okay. Go back from when he assumed office The last 6 months in 2012, then the 4 years of his reign to 2016, he should go back.
Okay.
They shouldn't do what they call it, limited
because there's
investigation. They should go back and they can give us a true picture and stop this.
So there's a regular view of our show, and this is about the second time he's asking this question. One, Mr. Abbas up here, he says, "Look, assalamu alaikum, my brother. Wa alaikum assalam alaji, and good to hear from you. Please, can Randy explain why he did not ask for a forensic audit on assuming office? The findings would have assisted to clarify the issues very well." And that's coming from Alaji Abbas up here. And then also this one here is that somebody's actually giving me some additional information that the situation was so bad in 2023 that Cocoa Board actually went to Dubai to look for a loan because people were not prepared to give us, the syndicated loan wasn't working. And there's somebody who's a player within the cocoa industry. And so, but anyway, somebody J says, "Good morning, Moro. Kwesi Pratt is right. Moro, could you believe that my family owns cocoa farm at a SHÂME Kwesi area long before my grandfather was born? More under the NPP government 4 years ago, the cocoa was cut down because they needed sand to build a hospital." Now, one of the things that some people fear, and legitimately so, is that the whole idea of people giving their concessions to, illegal, miners is something that they
make more money.
Yeah, they make more money. They make money, and that's one of our biggest fears. So we need to really get to the bottom of this cocoa thing and deal with it decisively. And I beg the politicians, stay out of it. That's the crown. Anyway, well, boss, good to see you once again.
Good to see you too.
Thank you very much. And also, my name is Audumo. Thanks for watching Good Morning Ghana. Let me just say that I'm going to.
That's right. So that is it. Inti. Kudos to Kwesi Pratt Jr. for giving us a very wide education. In fact, Kwesi Pratt Jr. amaye hu nneema bi and wamayati nneema bi nso ase. These are the people Ghana, we need such people. Yehia nkofo bi nso yekofo asemba a mugina mu ka nokore se de tie. But NPP for ne de omaye omadwin sa asemba because of so mu opposition tino. Omo ka mo de ayede. But the opposition, it doesn't mean say adebia abani ya bibia sabotage. There be 3 years NPP aban so yewra president Kufado any the vice president Muhammadu Bawumia then omode baye no. NDC fan condemn you. Omo say omo ya ade. But the timing no, that very year no baye na, that was 2017. Na was think omo gen hihye ede to honom na ebia 2018 the next year no na nko mo implement ampa so NPP for kind no mudika because 2017 no mo implement SHS no a whole lot of stress I cause so the various SHS no enya sanketwa, especially those heading various SHS in this country omo for omo papa because now pressure a womb e me kai pa me kai den tani do bi of school pressure na a womb obekọ na nkwada ebi no tete abonten ebi ne masisi abonten obi nye ba ebi na obi ntini na a lot of problems and omo ye den those time encounter it could be so be kwana because of say ipa na do some bullshit into boys and we yakoye we na ntokwa eniema wie nuane and a whole lot of things happened. But imagine say omoto obobo ase edi niema gugu akwan mu omoto obobo ase calculate niema eto obobo ase share niema and I think that those challenges it will come but it is not going to be as many as it came at that very period nti anye bibia na your opposition party or criticize adebo na ebeboa support it. That makes you what a very vibrant and meaningful opposition party. And yes, they be obetri dowry na press conference na one and ebema why opposition papa. And the MB before support the papa in this especially this economy management amude mu bioma artificial artificial and na Kwesi Pratt junior bi sese me kra na nka me minim se you will be a friend artificial managing economy artificial managers of the economy or whatever. But NPP for you know my it is abrofo. Ade mako pompi dollar begu Ghana. Jaman so. Ade na mo betima esa no manye no my engine yi. You get it. So sometimes ade bi on my munya botere. Na muntu mo ase enkasa wo ho because ye di mamu na muntimi anye. Sabi ye di mamu so na se wontimi anye na obi ya. Ade ba ko pe na wo se wo ye. Na so be come no tum na watena se na wahwe ni pakro no. Onu so feli na so wo any other idea, then you bring it out. But so far as any person failure or what the right track, you have to keep mute and lead and let the person work. You have to keep mute till the person finishes the tenure in office. It's NPP for come on pardon. Never bomb. Come on, tum bibra and go for boo pa change to be one now because I've been saying no. That's our respect. So take when you young, so take. It's NPP for being a safu bomb and come as him. Quick one, my main for inform na you. And then when you news be, and I say my breaking news be on Chema, Chief Justice. So I say petition be can don't the money Muhammad sa and Mamudi become my Chief Justice. So with him, Mammy, a year. Jemensa Omunino, only 2 deputies, Yera Bosmaya, sorry, in France, a year Tetiana France, Teti, or the same crowd. Is it the KBB? What I say? Only 2 deputies, no Munino. But in lay, Omuchi, sir, any a year special prosecutor so come to say Jabin. Chief Justice Chima, sir, petition now be canon, sir. O Matnasia Bobo, Washim. There is nothing like any case in Neta, Obetimama. Omo position no omo eden omo agye afiri omo nsa na so omo yi omo firi ho nti no wara wankasa news na boy MPP ni analyze no pese eba ema mfa chima komo no tum senka the other way a nkasa me press conference nka press conference this is the time I was a yejai electoral commission appointed by president of that government and I say we ba na mayi president for we ba no so mayi me easy for emwa yes resources abasa na your institution no always controlled by the what the political heads. Meanwhile I didn't so independent body until you see up saying anything but you be the home later until so far that is the news I mean sir at me aka what you say teacher wadwe comment section ni meba na ya ba bidi ho komo na ya go into details na ya cheche nyema mu adumu asukọ na ya nkasa ye hu na yesua de e afiri mu as a young politicians ayeba and I say Ghana eda ya kuma so ade bia yeti Ghana mu nsem eba be chechire ma kirewo na mi hirawo bye bye.